Urgent. Moscow has been encircled. Many are rooting for Kiev. A powerful breakthrough by the armed forces of Ukraine. Hundreds of drones have stormed into Russia. The country is shaken by a massive attack. The Russian capital is paralyzed. Russians are blocked in airports. A missile Armageddon has begun. At the same time, a new grand decree from London. Britain is deploying its troops. A foreign army will enter the front right now. Shock. Trump is preparing a meeting between Zelensky and Putin. The final position. Washington is more favorable to Kiev than to Moscow. A clear signal. Something terrible is coming. The sky has turned into a desert, into a trap for Putin. Russia is losing its wings. Helicopters and planes are falling one after another. And all of this happened just now. Greetings, I am Renata Aslanova and we are starting. Now it's official. Armageddon in Russia has indeed begun. A series of powerful explosions has engulfed the capital. Moscow is covered in smoke and...
The consequences of the attacks can no longer be hidden from Putin. The country is trembling. Chaos is unfolding before everyone's eyes.
At that time, various public media channels were loudly and persistently proclaiming to everyone that
up to 100 drones were flying toward Moscow. The swarm of combat birds was approaching more confidently than ever before. A drone is flying. It's the first time I've seen one. Whoa!
The mayor of Moscow, Sergei Sobyanin, proudly announced the downing of 21 drones over the heads of Russians. The sky above the capital turned into a trap. Rosaviatsia urgently closed 4 airports at once. Vnukovo, Domodedovo, Zhukovsky, and Sheremetyevo. It seems the situation has spiraled out of control. But this Normageddon doesn't end here. The shockwave spread from Moscow to Belgorod.
Belgorod was subjected to one of the most powerful combined attacks since the beginning of the war, under fire.
The prime targets were the electrical substation and the Belgorod CHP plant. This is...
You can see this center from here, from Belgorod over there. Oh!
The CHP plant was hit. Russians now face the harsh reality of no electricity, water, or heat. Governor Gladkov confirmed the AFU pounded the region with missiles. As a result of the devastating strikes, the power grid went to sleep.
Following the series of devastating and highly destructive strikes that targeted critical infrastructure across the region, the entire electrical power grid suffered a catastrophic failure and effectively went to sleep, plunging millions of residents into a state of total and absolute darkness as all essential services and modern conveniences ground to a sudden and complete halt without any warning or immediate hope for restoration.
The fiery relay was picked up by Tatarstan as well. A massive fire broke out at the strategic Kalekino oil pumping station. The fiery relay was picked up.
Deep within the region of Tatarstan, a truly massive and uncontrollable fire has suddenly broken out at the critically strategic Kalekino oil pumping station. This vital facility, which serves as Vladimir Putin's essential oil lifeline, is now being consumed by the fierce and relentless flames of our righteous revenge. Just look at the scale of this destruction. What on earth is happening here? Oh my goodness, the entire horizon is glowing.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Special attention. Pay special attention to Kalekino in particular. It is here that the Hungarian-Slovak dreams of Russian oil and gas dependence can be stopped and make life more difficult for Belarus. Much more difficult.
To complicate life, end oil dependence, and pressure Belarus. Saratov saw explosions and panic despite official denials. Voronezh reports smoke in its industrial zone. Drones are hitting remote areas, causing widespread hysteria that can't be hidden. Sensation. British troops in Ukraine. The UK's Defence Minister, John Gill, is ready to take a sensational step to send soldiers directly to the front lines. This is not just a decision, but a signal to all of Europe. The war is on the brink.
The war is nearing its end. Peace is already close. The intrigue grows with every minute. I want to be the defense minister who sends British troops to Ukraine, because that would mean the end of this war. It means we have reached a peace agreement in Ukraine, and a safe Europe needs a strong sovereign.
In other words, troops should be sent even before a peace agreement is reached.
However, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, strongly urged the international community not to waste any more precious time, but instead to do it right now. To put it in even more direct terms, he believes it is essential that peacekeeping troops should be deployed and sent in, even before a formal peace agreement is finally reached.
The prominent leader of Ukraine himself, President Volodymyr Zelensky, also chose to strike out with a powerful fist of absolute determination, showing the world his unwavering resolve and the strength of his nation during these incredibly challenging times.
Made a new statement that shocked everyone. The United Kingdom and France are ready to send one military brigade each, that is, up to 5,000 soldiers from each country. The key issue remains the deployment of troops at...
Ukrainians need partners on the front lines, not in the rear. Stay tuned. I wanted to make sure you are the first to hear about this. The United States is preparing.
A high-stakes meeting between President Volodymyr Zelensky and Vladimir Putin is being discussed. Donald Trump's newly appointed special envoy, Steve Witkoff, has finally revealed the very first details. Moreover, Steve Witkoff is currently counting on some very positive news regarding the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia.
Starting as early as within the next few coming weeks. And it is my sincere hope that in the very next phase,
In just about 3 weeks' time from now, you will hear
be that as it may, however, the
President
Zelensky told the BBC that victory requires specific steps, noting Trump is now closer to Kiev than the Kremlin. Trump's team engages more with Ukraine than with Putin. Notably, Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff meets the president more frequently. With the Ukrainian side than with Moscow. It seems Ukraine is gaining more and more influence in Washington, something that has never happened before. Putin's aviation is falling apart before everyone's eyes. Aircraft are crashing one after another. The Ukrainian armed forces are methodically destroying the wings of the Russian army. Drones have taken out 2 helicopters at once, a multi-purpose Mi-8 and an attack Ka-52 Alligator in the Oriol region. The helicopters are destroyed and cannot be restored. Apparently, Russia is not using this site as an operational airfield for the combined helicopter detachment, which was supposed to intercept Ukrainian long-range. However, it seems this is only the beginning of disasters on enemy territory. The day before, in the southern direction, our soldiers professionally shot down another much-hyped Su-34 fighter bomber. Just a day before that, a Mi-8 crashed spectacularly in the Yamalo-Nenets region. And the day before that, in the Amur region, a helicopter carrying security forces went down. The Empire's wings are melting before our eyes. Urgent news. Has it really happened? Anti-drone defense over Ukraine is already operational. The sky is being closed to Shaheds, and Russia is rapidly losing. Throughout the course of this coming year, the Ukrainian air defense systems are set to become significantly more reliable, remarkably more accurate, and most importantly of all, there will be a much greater quantity of these systems deployed across the nation.
Ever since the very beginning of February, the courageous defense forces have been consistently showing truly phenomenal and record-breaking results in systematically destroying a vast array of enemy military equipment and strategic assets across the front lines. Enemy aerial targets. And above all, this concerns drones. Analysts say this is connected to the new concept from the Ministry of Defense and personally from Minister Fedorov, who is actively promoting the idea of an anti-drone dome over Ukraine.
Regarding enemy drones, Minister Fedorov is leading a new defense ministry concept for an anti-drone dome over Ukraine. This system uses 3D radars for early warning and close-range detection of the actual physical strike complex itself and its surrounding infrastructure.
To provide a specific illustration of this concept, one might consider that this could be characterized as either a highly sophisticated and integrated long-range missile strike complex, or perhaps it could be viewed as a different type of strategic military installation altogether.
Ukraine's new radars. Furthermore, it has become known that Ukraine is scheduled to soon receive a substantial shipment of advanced AIM missiles, which are sophisticated munitions designed to bolster their defense capabilities.
Ukrainian defenders used to shoot down Russian cruise missiles and jet-powered drones. This was reported yesterday by the Ministry of Defense press service. These missiles have been in service with the Ukrainian armed forces for several years. In particular, they are used from aircraft.
The F-16 Fighting Falcon is a highly versatile single-engine supersonic multi-role fighter aircraft originally developed by General Dynamics for the United States Air Force. Designed as an air superiority day fighter, it evolved into a successful all-weather multi-role aircraft featuring a frameless bubble canopy for better visibility, a side-mounted control stick to ease control while maneuvering, and a relaxed static stability fly-by-wire flight control system that helps it maintain excellent agility during intense aerial combat missions around the globe.
And NASAM's ground-based air defense systems. NATO must do everything necessary now to ensure that when it comes to air defense and other weapon systems, we are doing everything possible to provide all that is within our power. Incidentally, the need to increase missile supplies for the F-16s may also be related to another recent development. According to Western journalists, it is not only Ukrainian armed forces pilots who have been flying in Ukrainian skies recently. The publication Intelligence
Online reports citing internal sources state that an entire squadron of foreign pilots from the United States and the Netherlands has been established in Ukraine. These international F-16 units frequently patrol the skies during nighttime Russian attacks to ensure a faster response to aerial threats and to maximize their total coverage area. The most significant contribution of these Western veterans to Ukraine's air defense lies in their extensive experience and skills using the fighter jet's high-precision sensors, particularly the Lockheed Martin Sniper Targeting Pod. This ultra-precise electro-optical infrared system is utilized for identification at long distances, tracking fast-moving targets, and striking accurately even in adverse weather conditions.
about the ammunition. For example, drone interceptor units are being formed within unmanned systems forces, showing improved results. While the Ministry of Defense hasn't officially confirmed the animation, they state a comprehensive air defense reform is underway.
Boost air defense and save costlier assets.
Missiles for other purposes. The number of these drones in flight is a problem of scaling not only the strike drones themselves, but also the anti-drone systems, the scaling of the pilots themselves and their training. Also,
Journalists managed to find out that, as part of the Ramstein agreements, additional Norwegian NASAMS air defense systems are to be supplied to the armament of small fire groups, along with those very AIM missiles and similar equipment from other partners. These are
short-range systems. These are usually either wheeled, even though the critical strengthening of Ukrainian air defense systems is currently ongoing. Many military analysts note that it is specifically in the year 2026 that our brave sky defenders will finally reach their full potential.
They continue to demonstrate what are widely considered to be truly unprecedented and groundbreaking results. For example, if we look back at the specific events that took place on the night of February 17th, we can see a clear and detailed illustration of this. In a remarkable display of aerial defense, all 20 of the incoming Kh-101 cruise missiles were successfully intercepted and destroyed mid-air. This perfect record highlights the effectiveness of the defensive systems, ensuring every single one of these sophisticated weapons was prevented from reaching its target. This resulted in a flawless operation where not a single missile managed to penetrate the protective shield established by the responding forces.
40 Iskanders and 360 drones. Explosion in Washington. Americans expel Trump. The leader is at an impasse as policies backfire. People are unstoppable. Ratings plummet. Democrats celebrate America.
Is waking up.
There are millions of them, and it is incredible.
Of Americans are showing the president the door. America is waking up. The slogan of the people in the streets is,
America has no monarchs. Millions are rejecting a president acting like a king. I'm no king, but I'm working hard to make our country great.
that's all, I'm not a king at all. In just 1 year at the helm of the United States, Donald Trump has managed to accumulate a huge baggage of scandal, of quarrels, unpopular decisions, and statements.
All these different countries are absolutely dying to make a deal with us. They constantly kiss my ass and say, please, please, sir, we beg you, please make a deal. I will do anything you want, sir. So far things have been moving along.
The US president is doing everything possible to turn historic allies and friends abroad away from Washington, while inside the country, the White House's ratings are being dragged down by killer agents from the Immigration Service. Sir, oh! Millions of Americans have experienced this.
Firsthand.
The president's disregard for others, mirrored by his appointees, hurts his ratings.
American politics, as we get closer to the midterm elections in the fall of 2026, is increasingly starting to look like a confrontation between two warring camps, the Democrats and the Republicans. And this is not the language of constructive dialogue, not the language of proposals, but the language of compromat and dirty political tactics. It's worth recalling that in
the materials declassified by the US Department of Justice, it is mentioned thousands of times. Consequently, as a direct result of these circumstances, a wide and diverse range of various different options and possibilities began to emerge.
This represents a strictly independent American sociological perspective functioning outside of traditional academic constraints to provide a deeply comprehensive and objective analysis of contemporary societal structures and human behavioral patterns across the United States today.
Agencies are noting a worrying trend for the Republicans. The so-called neutral voters who determined Trump's victory in 2024 are now turning toward the Democrats. Democrat Taylor Ricknett won back a seat in the Texas State Senate in a district where Trump had previously
won with a 17-point lead. In response, trying to regain lost ground, the Trump administration is betting
on an even greater division within society, the principle of if you're not with us, you're against us, as well as a demonstration of strength and success on the international stage.
When we examine the nation's evolving role on the international stage, it becomes clear that its strategic actions are fostering new diplomatic ties and exerting a significant influence on the global community.
Right now, this is already the beginning. Poland is sharply reinforcing its border with Belarus and Russia. Europe is fencing itself off with a tough barrier. In just 48 hours, a line on the map could turn into a real defense outpost. Minsk is getting nervous, talking about alarm and urgent measures. The Kremlin is once again trying to act through others, and tensions are rising to a critical level. Is the West entering a new
conflict? Poland's loud claim, and is reinforcing the border. In western Belarus, reservists are being urgently called up. Coincidence? You can only rely on yourself.
Don't count on anyone. I've said it 5 times already. We have no friends in the world. None. Men in Belarus have started en masse
to receive draft notices. They are taken the same day without any time to pack. And on top of that, their phones are confiscated. So, as relatives report, contact with those drafted is immediately lost. Of course, I would
be concerned about this and feel uneasy. The main difference is that this never happened before.
And people are asking each other, say, if this is happening in some region, how about you? Is it happening where you are too? So the first question everyone asks each other is whether this is happening all over Belarus now, or unprecedented events sparked nationwide alarm as Belarusians check if these incidents are now everywhere.
Officially, of course, this is being called a combat readiness check, not a mobilization. But in Russia, everything also started with assemblies and inspections.
Officially, this is called a combat readiness check, not mobilization. But in Russia, it also started with inspections. Primarily, it's about hiding information. A person is taken away immediately and their phone is confiscated, preventing them from informing others. This is maximum secrecy. We don't understand what happens to these people next. What's interesting
is the call-up of reservists specifically in the western regions of the country, that is near Poland. There's also a strategically sensitive area of Europe there, the Suwałki corridor. There are just too many
coincidences in one spot. It's a rather narrow stretch between the Kaliningrad region and Russia. Partly, in fact, the most densely populated town in the region, Suwałki, is situated not very far at all from the critical border between Poland and Lithuania. The total width of the land there, if I recall correctly, is only about 40 kilometers across, so it is really quite a small and narrow corridor. That is exactly why, if you concentrate your attention seriously enough on the map, you can see how vulnerable this specific area is to any potential geopolitical shifts.
With the military forces stationed there, you could, if you'll excuse me, rather quickly carve out a strategic land corridor directly to the Kaliningrad region. This maneuver would effectively bridge the gap between existing territories. At the same time, the government of Poland has officially announced the acquisition of 48 new units, a move that significantly bolsters their defensive capabilities and signals a major shift in the regional security landscape for the foreseeable future.
Poland's border mining and Belarus's mobilization risk real conflict. Recently, Lukashenko also ordered a large-scale inspection of the combat readiness of the armed.
These forces were deployed immediately. The military units were running through every drill and maneuver in full equipment with total intensity. We're not just working for a grade. We are working to ensure survival in the field where every action matters.
We're ready to defend our country, to defend our national interests, our sovereignty, our Republic of Belarus. And
now they're urgently calling up reservists. So maybe this is just part of Lukashenko's inspection?
Undoubtedly, in my opinion, this looks like a signal to the West, but we shouldn't see it as just a signal. I believe we should see this as a concrete military threat. And
here Moscow appears again.
But
Lukashenko's mobilization is a direct military threat, signaling Belarus's total absorption by the Kremlin. Just remember the statement about the Oreshnik on the territory of Belarus.
These are nearly wartime conditions. Recall the statement on the Oreshnik in Belarus. The first Oreshnik systems were deployed yesterday and are now on combat duty. Or the information
about Russia using Belarusian territory to attack Ukraine and for military purposes.
Operators of Russian Shahed drones are working against Ukraine, including from the territory of Belarus. The coordination for strikes is maintained from the territory of Belarus. Russia is using Belarus as a testing ground to blackmail Europe.
Russian drones strike Ukraine from Belarus, which serves as a testing ground to blackmail Europe. Despite Minsk's claims of peace, Putin likely won't listen to Lukashenko.
as for being drawn into the war, I have my doubts because, in my opinion, these decisions are still made by Lukashenko himself. And for now, he wants to keep his freedom to maneuver, including for his relations with Trump. It's a bit of puffing up his cheeks, a bit of pretending there's a danger. I doubt he'll join the war. Lukashenko still decides for himself. Seeking room to maneuver, including with Trump, he'll act tough but isn't fully under Putin's control.
Is closely monitoring the developments in the Republic and states that there is no reason to panic at this time. But Russia clearly has its own plans for Belarus. To carry out and prepare provocations. Lithuania is closely monitoring the developments in the Republic and states that there is no reason to panic at this time. But Russia clearly has its own plans for Belarus. After all, constantly probing NATO's borders and testing the reactions of neighboring countries is a systematic strategy and a way to test the alliance's patience. With that, we put a period on our broadcast. We continue. We continue right now. Stay tuned for the most relevant events so we can be the first to tell you about them. Don't forget to subscribe. We continue right now. Stay tuned for the most relevant events so we can be the first to tell you about them. Don't forget to subscribe. See you.